Hello and welcome to this video. It's only been a few days and the nonsense with James Talrico is already started. Exactly what I didn't want to see happen is happening. And what he's doing is he is trying to reach across the aisle and trying to appeal to conservatives. And I think that that's altogether the wrong strategy. And I also think that if he was to be elected to Texas Senate, he would pull a Fetterman or a Sinema or a Manchin. So, Texas Democrats, I think that they've already blown it. Now, when I get the time, I will attach the video. But I saw this video on a channel that seems to be kind of a religious political account, and they were interviewing James Talarico. And they were talking about abortion rights. Now, abortion in Texas is illegal, and so that's kind of a moot point for James Talarico because he's in Texas and the Supreme Court has already made it illegal, and the state of Texas is very much pro life. So, I mean, it's a moot point for him. But the interviewer was talking about being a pro life Democrat and making pro lifers comfortable in the Democratic Party and asking if there's room for a pro life Democrat. And it's really a stupid question. It just shows how people don't really understand things or seem to really understand things, because the more liberal side of the abortion issue is pro choice, meaning you have a choice. No one's telling anyone to have an abortion if you don't want one. If you don't believe in that, no one's challenging that. So that just really shows how really kind of silly they are. And um, my personal belief is that if the government has a say in your pregnancy, you have to question how much freedom you really have in something as personal and intimate as that. I don't think the state should have a say in such a matter. And that's pretty much my entire position. But anyway, then the comments just start talking about whether Democrats make Christians feel comfortable and stuff like that. And I'm like, good gravy, people, this is not an actual party. And so there's a lot of people on the internet right now saying that they're supposedly leaving MAGA, which again is completely meaningless. They already reelected Trump. They already gave Republicans the House and the Senate. Not that the House is really even doing much, because Mike Johnson doesn't really do anything. I mean, he almost pretty much nullified Congress, and he doesn't get enough heat for what he does not do. So, I mean, it's meaningless. Like all these people saying, oh, I'm ex MAGA. So, really, they're just going to go and probably latch on to someone like James Talarico. And that is not what anyone needs. And so called progressives, they like to say that progressives that they like to call establishment uh, Democrats have too much in common with MAGA, but really it's them. Um, and now I'm going to go on and talk about John Fetterman. John Fetterman has said that he is a very strong supporter of Israel. The House, surprisingly, had a vote today about, I don't know how to word it, but they are limiting Trump's military power. Fetterman was the only Democrat to vote with the Republicans. So pretty much nothing was accomplished. And I mean, Fetterman, for me, I thought he was horrible from the start, even just the way he looks. And the clothing that he chooses to wear as a senator. I think that it's a problem and I don't like it at all. And I remember, I want to say Fetterman was like a mayor or something like that of a small town, and he had a run in with a black man, and he just up and decided to pull a gun and hold this man pretty much hostage until like the police came because he was suspicious of something that was going on. And this is who people voted for the Democrat seat in Pennsylvania, in Senate. And they also liked that he was like kind of a slob. And again, like these so-called like conservatives, they like these people who are these men, white men that are really these questionable characters, but then they just get up on some sort of a self-righteous soapbox and start, preaching to everyone, and it helps if they're racist as well. So progressives are not going to fly at all. Again, like I said before, James Tallarico, what he needs to be doing is trying to make nice with Crockett voters. I mean, for heaven's sakes, Crockett is from Dallas. Now, I don't know offhand what the biggest city is. For some reason, I think the biggest city is Houston in Texas. But gosh darn it, Dallas is a pretty darn big city. That is a lot of votes. And I think that it would be smart on his behalf and his campaign's behalf to try and reach out to Crockett supporters who are very disappointed right now. We'll see if that happens. Another thing that's kind of grinding my gears, in some of the social media chatter that I've seen, is people are saying, well, I like Tallarico and Crockett. Either one of them would have been good. Tallarico and Crockett were not equals. Tallarico was a state representative who served in Austin. Jasmine Crockett was, or still is, in the House of Representatives. And Tallarico, he's still a representative as well. That is not the same. That's not the same level. She is a congressperson, a U.S. congressperson in D.C. And I mean, she's very vocal. She's very bold. You know exactly where she's coming from. There's no doubt in my mind that she will stand on her word and stand for what she believes in. And Tallarico's over here like, oh yeah, there is room for pro-life Christians in the Democrat Party. No one ever said that there wasn't. I mean, that's not a thing. And they're like, oh, is there room for more conservative Democrats? And I mean, this is the kind of rhetoric that he's involved with when Ken Paxton, who is a January 6th conspiracy theorist, pretty much rigged that election against Jasmine Crockett, in my opinion. Uh, so, anyway, there's that. Tallarico's not going to work, honestly, but I don't think he's going to win the election anyway. And there's this uh, line that's going on social media saying that Jasmine Crockett took AIPAC money, and there's some group that has to do with Israel. I guess they're lobbyists. That's not true. So that's a lie. That's not true. She actually refused that type of funding. Oh, back to that video that I watched. And it wasn't just that video where they were talking about pro-life Democrats. I saw this one, either it was a headline or a video on YouTube. They were like, oh my gosh, is this the start of the religious left, talking about James Tallarico? Jasmine Crockett's father is a pastor. One of the Congress people here in Kansas City used to pastor a very large, prominent church in the city. A lot of black people that are politicians are outspoken Christians. They just don't make that their uh, political foundation, which I think is a good thing. I think that those are two different things because politicians need to try and serve everyone, and everyone um, doesn't have the same religious beliefs. So it's really kind of unfortunate how people are just kind of like overlooking black Christians that vote Democrat and that serve in politics. And progressives, they are not coming across well at all. They are really just overlooking a lot of the efforts of black people, and eventually it's really just going to disenfranchise a lot of voters, and they're just going to just like pretty much morph into MAGA, and it's not going to be a good thing, in my opinion. So I think that's all I have to say about that. I feel like I am forgetting something. Oh, I saw another comment online about the Talrico Crockett race. This may have been before the actual election, but someone wrote on this one video, said Talrico should hire Crockett to work on his campaign because he needs, I don't know, the strength or something like that. And I'm just like, you have got to be kidding me. I mean, I didn't say anything, I just didn't feel like it, but I'm just sitting here like, even if he did, let's say if he won and he offered her some sort of a position in his office, she should turn it down because she really is more qualified than he is. And if voters want that kind of boldness and energy, then they should have just went and voted for Crockett and supported Crockett, not putting Talrico in the spot and then wanting to put Crockett in a support position to Talrico. I mean, like I said before, I do think that there were some shenanigans and some chicanery with that election um, in Dallas, talking about the primary, talking about the polling places and times in Dallas. But hey, she conceded the election, she lost. Talrico is on his own. He needs to sort it out for himself. And whatever happens is not Jasmine Crockett's fault because they did not want her involved. Just like all these people who say, hey, where's Kamala? Well, I know she went to Jesse Jackson's funeral, but other than that, I hope she's just kind of like at home getting some rest because they didn't want her involved. So she just needs to mind her business. But again, James Talrico, he's doing what I suspected he would do, which is that, oh yes, I want to reach across the aisle, and he's sitting here just trying to um, engage with conservatives and religious people. I think that's a mistake. And with that being said, I don't think that he can be trusted. I mean, I think he's going to lose anyway, but even if he was elected, I think he would be another flake, just like Fetterman. Oh, and another thing. Now, Fetterman, he is a progressive. A lot of the progressives supported him. One of their main issues is Gaza. And they claim that they don't like Jasmine Crockett, some of them because she took like AIPAC money. But now Fetterman went and he said that he is a strong supporter of Israel, and he voted against, or I'm sorry, limiting Trump's military power, I guess you would say, um, in the House. So that's bizarre, but you're not going to hear a lot about that, or at least I'm not hearing a whole lot about that. I learned about that from, well, first of all, C-SPAN, and then maybe like one other commentator said that Fetterman was the only Democrat that voted with the Republicans to let Trump just run amok in the Middle East. So anyway, there's that. Good luck to everybody. I think Ken Paxton's going to take that seat in Texas, and they're going to have Paxton and Cruz, and they're going to be absolutely delighted about it. Bye.